Hey everyone, I am Sean Smith. I am a life coach. I've been a life coach for 12 years now. I would love to be with you all at your conference. I can't, so the best thing I can do is shoot this short little video for you. And what I want to share with you, all the girls in the room, is what you might not know about boys and how this relates to you in relationships or just interactions with boys in general. See, boys are programmed at a very young age to never lose, to never be weak, to never be vulnerable, to never be emotional. We are programmed that that's all a sign of weakness. And we get told things like, don't be a little girl and don't show your weakness and don't be a wussy. And this is the kind of programming that we get as boys. Now, I'm not trying to make I'm not trying to defend boys. I'm not trying to make any excuses. I just want you to understand where a lot of their behaviors are coming from so that it can benefit you, so that we can keep you healthier with yourself, with your self-esteem, with your confidence and so forth, and not take all this on internally. And so boys are taught to always be tough. We want to be capable. We don't like not being able to do things. We always want to win. It's about winning at all costs. That's what masculinity means to most boys according to our program. That's not what real masculinity is. That's not what a real man is. But that's the way society programs us, and it's mostly by other men. That's how we're just programmed. That's what it means to be a man. That's what it means to be macho. And so when masculinity in this sense is hurt, it's wounded. I call this the masculine wound. What it tries to do is it tries to get the upper hand. It tries to feel strong again. And what wounded masculinity usually does is it hurts others. It hurts other people. A lot of times it will pick people that it feels won't fight back or can't fight back for whatever reason. And so that's why a lot of times wounded masculinity does things that doesn't make any sense. It's just trying to get its own sense of enoughness back. It's trying to get its own sense of strength back. And so what a lot of boys will do is they will tend to abuse others, right? Wounded masculinity in boys usually shows up as hurting other people. When girls are wounded, most girls tend to hurt themselves, so they just tend to retreat and withdraw, but boys tend to hurt others in some weird convoluted way to try to get their own strength back. If I can dominate somebody else, then that means I'm strong again. And so it usually shows up in some form of abuse, whether it's just little insults that might seem like jokes, or all the way up to physical abuse, verbal abuse, viciousness, and anywhere in between. It's really this wounded masculinity trying to gain its strength back. And then what happens a lot of times with everybody is that we tend to want to find our self-esteem in relationships, right? And this happens a lot, with teenagers and young adults, is if I can be with somebody who's really cool and beautiful and successful, then I can kind of get some of that in myself. I can sort of be close to it, therefore feel some of it and claim some of it for myself. So this is called self-esteem by relationship. Although sometimes it turns into self-abuse. That was a slip, but it was actually kind of profound. Self-esteem by relationship, which is never a good thing, but it shows up differently with boys and girls. In my opinion, obviously as a man, boys are more about the conquest, right? Boys want to conquer in their relationships so that they can impress their friends, which is a different energy than what girls are getting from a self-esteem by relationship example. And so if boys are trying to do this and they've got all of this masculinity inside of them, and especially if it's wounded, then sometimes it's going to hurt you. And so my message to you is, if you find yourself being hurt in any way, somebody does something stupid, a boy does something stupid, says something stupid, embarrasses you, what's so important is that you don't internalize it. You don't take it on, because it's not yours, it's his. If he's hurting you, he's in pain. Hurting people hurt people, especially wounded masculine men and wounded masculine boys. they tend to hurt other people. So the best thing you can do is not take it on, because it's not your loss. It doesn't actually mean anything about you in a negative way. So what I've learned as a life coach that's so critical for women, especially in this kind of a situation, is that you've got to stay convicted in who you are. Don't source your self-esteem from other people, not from your relationships, not from approval from other people, not through your success, not through your accomplishments. Your self-esteem is finite. Your self-esteem, how valuable you are on this planet, cannot increase with your accomplishments or approval from others or relationships that you get into, and it cannot decrease with your failure or with poor relationships or with lack of approval from other people. And if wounded masculine boys are irritated in some way, they're frustrated, they feel embarrassed, and they're projecting onto you, what does that say about them? I mean, what does it say about a boy who is intimidated by your self-esteem? What does that say about his self-esteem? There's brokenness there. There has to be. Otherwise, there wouldn't be any reason to try to squash self-esteem. So you've got to stay convicted and be true to who you are and stay true to your values and what you want, so that you own and protect your own self-esteem. And if a boy makes fun of you for that, or they think you're stuck up. See, wounded masculinity thinks self-esteem is stuck up. It has all this negative judgment to project onto self-esteem. In reality, it wants some of that, but it's wounded. And so my message to you is, don't internalize any of their pain. Stay true to yourself as much as you can. Know what you want in life, in relationships, in friendships, because you're amazing. You are immensely important, incredibly powerful. You're such an amazing force on this planet. Stay true to your feminine energy. And we all have a little bit of masculine and feminine in us. So I don't want you to be confused by me using masculine or feminine, but you've got to stay true to who you are, mostly rooted in your feminine energy, because that's where your beauty and your power actually comes from. See, power inside of a feminine channel in women is actually more powerful than the force that men usually try to use to overpower other people. So don't try to fight that wounded masculine battle. Stay true to your feminine beauty and energy and power and intuition and love. And that's the magnet that's going to attract somebody that's not wounded, that's not intimidated by your power, by your beauty. And then it'll be all worth it. So I hope this is valuable to you on some level. I hope you soak this into your heart. You're able to deflect and not take on any of the wounded masculinity that tries to throw itself on you. Protect yourself. Stay rooted in your own self-esteem. And be committed to living a happy life. Don't take on the pain and the frustration of other people as though it's your own. It's not. Stay committed and convicted to living a happy life. And you do have the power as girls, as women, to change this world. I wish you all the best. Take care.